Kitkatscanread. Hello everybody, my name is Katie, welcome to another video, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you guys my December as well as January wrap up. I realised I didn't do a wrap up for December, so I thought I would combine it along with January. Also, I just want to mention some of these books I'm going to have to show the pictures of because the physical books are in a box at the back of the bookshed, and I just discovered a massive spider which I'm going to have to get Aaron to get, and my battery is probably not going to last that long, so let's do this and get this over and done with. So the first book that I read during the month of December was What Cats Want. It's an illustrated guide to truly understanding your cat. It is by Yuki Hattori. I rated this 5 out of 5 Kit Kats purely because I really enjoyed this book. It had so many sort of facts and interesting facts about cats. I, recently had kittens last year, so I was just like, oh, I really need to learn more about it. But it gave really interesting facts about cats, for example, the fact that they lean more towards females because we have a higher pitched voice, and they like the sort of higher pitched voice sort of thing, and now recently I can generally see that because the kittens tend to follow me around and stuff, so it's really interesting, and they respond to my high pitched voice as well when I go hey, hi. So yeah, it's really interesting. And then there's doodles of their facial expressions and what they mean, and I'm just this is really cool and interesting to know. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book, totally recommend it. Yeah, definitely. Then I read Too Late by Colin Hoover. This book, oh my goodness, this book was my #1 favourite book of 2020. It's so good. It's literally about this girl, and she is in this complicated relationship with this guy that she used to be in love with. She starts at school, she meets this other guy who is quite mysterious, and we have dual perspectives. We have it from the girl, from the new guy that started at school, and we have it from the boyfriend of the complicated relationship. He is into drugs, selling drugs, anything, but she kind of needs to stay with him because with his dirty drug money he helps to pay for her autistic brother's education. So that's kind of the reason she's with him. She puts up with him, and Carter is the guy at school, and he is the one that is mysterious. So with the book of Too Late, I found it really interesting because we literally have so much going on. There is trigger warnings, I say, for obviously drugs, alcohol and sexual explicit content, and yeah, but at the same time you're sort of who is this Carter character? He's mysterious, it's not his real name. He has revealed that in literally his first ever chapter, which is chapter 2. So just what's going on? Who is this Carter? What is this? What is he investigating? It's just it's really interesting. It definitely has got me intrigued and wanting more, and yeah, I literally cannot wait to just read more of Colin Hoover's other books, because she's been brilliant so far with her books, but this is by far my favourite. Maybe Someday was my favourite, but Too Late, oh my goodness, knocked it right off the bat. So definitely this book scored an ultimate Katie star, which for me is a 6-star rating. Everything for me was perfect. I loved it, I was obsessed, I was thinking about this book so much. I totally recommend it. It's one of Colin Hoover's underhyped books, I would have to say, but I just don't understand why, because it's just, well, people need to read it and give it a go. So yeah, pick it up, give it a read. And then the final books that I read in December was, I reread the bind up of this. This is the book 1 bind up of The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. This contains volumes 1 to 5. For those of you that would like to know of the original Chilling Adventures of Sabrina graphic novels that came before the Netflix TV show, I also read the 6th graphic novel as well, but in the ebook format, because I've got Amazon Prime, and there's Amazon Prime graphic novel reading that you can get, some books that you can just borrow for free, and the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina ones are free. So if you guys want to look at that, I don't know if they're still free, but they were in December. But yeah, these are just, they're so different, and like part of me did forget about what happened in it, even though I read it like not too long ago, but like I dived into it again and I was just like, I've just remembered exactly why I loved this book. Like, it's definitely darker. I mean, don't even begin to think the Teenage Witch, Sabrina Teenage Witch TV show with the comedy and the laughter and everything. It's nothing like that. This is gory, it's just like dark. The TV show is based off of these, so there are some similarities, there are some differences. I would like to say this probably has more gore in it, if I'm completely honest. So if you don't really like your gore stuff or your explicit stuff, then you know, don't really give this a read. But for those of you that don't mind, that really enjoy the TV show and you want to go back to its original roots, I do suggest giving this a read. It's really enjoyable, and the artwork style is literally like this, kind of like olden style, I suppose, like with the oranges and browns, those sort of colours. But it's really interesting to just read, and it's just like, oh yeah, I'm so glad they had this, and I can't wait for them to do like a bind up of like the next few volumes, because I definitely would get hold of that. So yeah, I look forward to when that does release. When that'll be, no idea, but there are the ebooks for now. But yes, this 5 out of 5 Kit Kats all the way, totally recommend it. And then I read Saga volume number 2, and this was a reread for me. I read like the first 3 volumes and I literally just was like, the first time I read them, didn't understand it. This time I'm reading them, I freaking love them. Like, Saga volume 2, I really enjoyed so much more the second time around. So glad I reread it as well. They're such easygoing reads, very explicit, very like heavy on. If you guys don't know about Saga, it's a show about these 2 people from different planets, and they have a baby together, and the baby is the protagonist of the story. They're sort of telling about their life and like their parents and how it all happened and everything, which is really interesting take, and how this baby is wanted, and you know how what these 2 people did when they like got together, how this baby, how it's kind of like forbidden. So it's really interesting. It's funny because the stuff that goes on, there's people with televisions for heads, like what the fuck is that? But you know, at first when I read it I was like, what on earth am I reading? Like, this is strange. But like, now that I'm reading it, and I suppose because I've read it before, I'm like, you know what, weird is quirky, I'm quite quirky, I understand it totally. So yeah, definitely recommend the Saga series. I can't wait to continue actually. They're just such easy reads, great to break up a readathon, or if you've been reading some heavy books, you know, they're just, I don't know, they're fun and light, as well as like have a very load of explicit sexual things going on. Yeah, they're strange, they're wacky, but they're so fun. 5 out of 5 Kit Kats. I'm going to move on to my January wrap up. So the first book that I read in January was Into the Blue by Lucy Daniels, the first book in the Dolphin Diary series. Now, for those of you that are looking at this and thinking, why not she reading a children's book? And also, like, Lucy Daniels, isn't that the author of the Animal Arc series? When I read it when I was like a child, yes it is. Exactly the same author. They have written several series actually, but Dolphin Diaries is one of them. It's literally about this girl called Jodie, and she goes off with her family onto their cruise ship called the Dolphin Dreamer, and they go in search of dolphins, and they study dolphins. Her parents are like marine biologists sort of thing, and oh my goodness, so like this one, this dolphin here called Apollo, and the dolphin just like appears like on its own, and it's like so cute and everything, and Jodie is just like, oh my goodness. So at the same time she writes in a diary, she like definitely like she writes a diary about the dolphins that she sees and everything about them and her thoughts and everything, so definitely inspires you to like write a diary and everything. Like, it definitely reminds me to write in mine, to be honest. So yeah, and there's like illustrations here and there in the books of like the dolphins and everything. Like, for example, there's an illustration here, but this just brings me back to my childhood. I am like beginning to just read more of my childhood books. They're really short, they're really fun. I loved this first book. again. I read it like so many years ago. I mean, I'm talking like I was probably 11, so you know, and I'm 30, nearly 31 now, so that's nearly 20 years ago that I read this. Crazy. And I rebought them all like last year or the year before that, and I just started like getting back into them again. Oh, they're so light, they're so fun. If you really like want a break up from all of your books, the heavy books, these are just brilliant. They're nostalgic, they're fun. If you love your dolphins too, like me, oh my goodness, I just love reading about them. Yeah, really enjoyed this reread, and of course I give it 5 out of 5 Kit Kats. Such a fun journey, and oh, brilliant. I just love it. For a children's book, and I'm an adult, brilliant. The next book that I read in January was The Near Witch by V. Schwab. This is Victoria's first ever debut novel, and to be honest, I actually really enjoyed this book. So by process of elimination, I was like humming and ahhing about what to rate this book. In general, this book edition does contain the novella The Ashbourne Boy as well, which I did also read. Didn't really like the novella personally. I feel like the novella should be part of the main story as like flashbacks. I feel like it would have been better personally, that's just my opinion. So this is a story about a girl called Lexi. There's a story that is literally about this near witch that goes around, and it's like a children's story, and then suddenly children disappear. So then they're like, oh, it's obviously like this person. Mysterious boy appears literally the same time these children go missing, so they blame this mysterious boy. Lexi wants to find out exactly what's gone wrong with children, and she sort of like investigates, and also she investigates and gets to know the mysterious boy that's appeared. Pretty much the literal amount of the story, and obviously by the end we get to see culprits and everything, and yeah, so this was quite enjoyable. Definitely had the atmosphere, which is what I really liked about it. I did do a review of this book, so I'll link that down below in the description. I did a video for it, so if you want to check more about my thoughts. But yeah, in general, really enjoyed this book, do recommend it, and in the end I gave this book 4.5 out of 5 Kit Kats. The next book I read in January, oh man, was a really good one. This is a book that I read for the Read Your Bookshelf-a-thon. It's the first book that I read, and I love this book so much. It's Kitkatscanread by Ashley Poston. I can't believe I've taken so long to get around to reading this, but it was so good. I can't wait to like buy all the other books about it. I'm just still thinking about this book. As I hold it in my hands, I'm just like, oh. So this is a story about Elle. This is based on Cinderella. It's basically, the easiest way to describe it is Cinderella with like a geeky sort of Comic-Con in it about like a TV show. So yeah, basically there's a TV show that is called Starfield, and Elle is literally obsessed with it. She was obsessed with her father like before he passed away, and her father created this Comic-Con, so Starship is going to have one, so kind of like the ball. And also there is this guy who's going to play her main male character in it, but she really doesn't like because he's like a soap star, he's obnoxious and this and that. So she writes like this blog, and then she does a blog post, and she's like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this embarrassment of a guy could ever play this character, etc, etc. So he reaches out, he has no idea who she is, reaches out, messages as a complete randomer, and is like, so like, why don't you like this person, blah blah blah. So she has no idea who he is, and vice versa. So throughout the whole of this book, they are emailing each other, they're messaging each other, texting, you name it. And oh my goodness, just obviously they will meet, that's a given, but oh man, it's just when they meet and just the feelings around it, I loved it. It definitely had like a You've Got Mail sort of feel, like just when they're like mailing each other, this is a mystery if they don't know who each other is, and I love that. That's one of my favourite tropes, sort of like the mystery, don't know who's who, but messaging sort of thing. So yeah man, this book was so good. I really enjoyed it. It's just cute, it's fluffy, it's brilliant. I cannot wait, oh my god, to read just more books by Ashley Poston. I literally immediately added books by this author to my wish list as soon as I finished this. So oh my god, I loved it. It was written perfectly, it was awesome, and yeah, I so recommend it. So the more and more I think about it, it makes me so happy, smiley, and it's brilliant. There's LGBT rep in it as well, with a female romance that happens, which is brilliant. Yeah, it's just such a perfect book, perfect retelling for Cinderella. I loved it so much. Cute, spoony, oh my god, I can't stop talking about it. So yeah, I'm gonna have to give it an ultimate Katie star. I loved it so much. Right guys, the final book that I read in January is a beast of a book, but oh man, was it an adventure. This is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout, the first book that is in this Blood and Ash series. So there's already book 2 that's out, and there is going to be a book number 3. This had over 600 pages. My goodness, what a book. So I did do a review of this, so I'll link that down below, and I did as well for Geekerella. All of the reviews will be just linked down below. So I'll just like touch on this very briefly. So this is a story about this girl called Poppy. She is a maiden. Maiden are chosen from the gods to serve like the king, queen, duchess, that sort of stuff. So Poppy, as a maiden, is not allowed to have feelings for anybody, to have any friendships, any relationships. She's not allowed to experience life things like sex and kissing anybody and all that sort of stuff. So pretty much life under control sort of thing. So what they all don't know is that Poppy is actually quite a strong female. She has been training with a guard who is a bit like a father to her, called Victor. And she knows how to wield a sword, she knows how to wield a bow, she knows how to protect herself. So she's pretty badass, kind of like Selena Sardothien from the Throne of Glass series. So she's a badass girl character. And so she's in this like club one day, and she ends up seeing like this like very popular, famous god that's there called Hawk. And she is like, oh my god, like, does he know who I am? Because she's veiled. She is only allowed to unveil herself to certain people. So she is veiled up. He has no idea who she is. He says he's meant to be there waiting for somebody, but then she turns up. Obviously there's people that are going to be attacking the building that she lives in, so there's a bit of conflict there and everything. So much goes on with this. And that's all I can really sort of say on it, really, without saying too much. So this is just packed full of fantasy, kick-ass characters. I must say, oh my goodness, so many twists and turns in this book. I was so near the end of this book that I probably had about 50 pages left, and at least 2 things happened in the end, and I was like, can anything else happen in this book? Something happened at the end of this book, which obviously quite a cliffhanger for the next book, and something just before that happened as well, and I'm like, oh man, this book, man. So good, really good, totally recommend it. I gave this book 5 out of 5 Kit Kats. I really enjoyed this book. I really enjoyed it, definitely. Looking forward to reading the next one. I can't believe I managed to get through this size of book, like, who am I? One book that I nearly forgot to mention in my January wrap up is the first book that's in this binder. That's just because I've got it continually to read over like the next month. So I didn't have this physical book because I had it to one side to read the second book in the bind up, and also on Goodreads, because it is a bind up, there's more pages in it and therefore it hasn't classed it as read yet. So I nearly forgot this book. It wasn't until I finished it that I suddenly thought, like, I don't think I vlogged this because I finished this in January. I can't remember when I finished it in January, but I have reviewed the first book on Goodreads. So I actually was looking, and this is the second reread of it. Like, I first reread this like in 2014, and then here we are now in 2020. Crazy, 6 years later. So I kind of like could remember things that went on and then kind of couldn't, which is really interesting that amazingly after like years of, you know, when I read this as a teenager to then, like, you know, reading it as a 24-year-old and now reading it as like a nearly 31-year-old, like, it's crazy like how much we remember and forget and stuff. But this is a story that is about a girl called Susanna Simon. She is a mediator. Basically her job is to help ghosts sort of finish their unfinished business, move on to the other side. Some ghosts, like poltergeists for example, can cause havoc because, you know, It could be their unfinished business is pretty crazy, or like it could be a revenge ghost sort of thing. So Susanna sometimes is in the situation where she literally has to kick butt, in the sense of like kicking the ghosts' asses. Susanna Simon has got a very similar personality to Rose from the Vampire Academy series, in the sense of she's pretty kick-ass. She is very confident. She like sometimes does very rash things because of her confidence. So yeah, I really like her because of that, because I also like Rose from Vampire Academy series, so they've got very, very similar personalities to me. And so I really, really like that. I like the fact that there's also a love interest that's in this book, and it does continue on with like the other books in the series as well, and it's a ghost that is in Susanna's bedroom. She literally moves into this place. Her mum has kind of like just remarried a partner, so she has to live with 3 other stepbrothers, and nobody wants this bedroom because it's quite cold, so Susanna takes it, and then she realises why, and that's because Jesse the ghost pretty much haunts the room. And he's like Spanish, I believe, and like really hot and like around her age, and he's very, very protective of Susanna, which is what I really like, even in the first book sort of thing. So he's definitely like my favourite character for all the books, just because of how much heart he has, and that he always thinks ahead and he always helps, and yeah, he's a brilliant character. And I literally just like look forward to reading so many more books just because of Jesse. I just love when he pops up. He's just a brilliant character. But to have a ghost, you know, a mediator who's meant to help ghosts sort of sort their unfinished business. But then there's Jesse, and she's just like, I don't really want him to find his unfinished business. Like, he's become a really, really good friend. So yeah, and obviously she gets a bit of a crush on him because he is like really hot. So how could you resist not having a crush on a really hot Spanish guy? So yeah, and I really like in this series that they help each other with other ghosts and their issues. And yeah, this one, there is a ghost that is causing a lot of havoc at the school that Susanna is going to, so she's brand new at the school, and so she has to try and like get rid of this ghost who is very, very powerful. And yeah, this is pretty much all I can tell you without spoiling you. So yeah, really enjoyed the first book, and it's just a great start to a series because you get introduced to so many characters and a lot happens, and I don't know, it's just got a really sort of nice family feel to the book as well. So literally, like, the tagline of the book is, I can see ghosts, I can talk to ghosts, and if necessary I can kick some serious ghost butt. So yeah, it's really, really good book, good start to a series. I can't wait to read, like, I'm hoping to actually read the Mediator series this year, because it would be good to actually finally reread them all and then read the books that were released like only just a few years ago, of like the new ones. I've got one of them, and I know there's like 1 or 2 other like novellas, so I would like to get those read as well. I know they like come after, and I'm just like, I need to reread the series in order to read them, so that is the mission. So I have literally just read one for February at the time of this recording, the second half of this one, so that means I've literally got like the second and the third bind-ups, so books 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and then I should be good to go with like other books. But yeah, I totally recommend this series, even though this first book was written in 2000, the second book was written in 2001. There was no way you'd be able to tell, to be honest. Like, you read them and I'm like, yeah, I would never be able to tell that this is like 21 years old, you know. That's crazy. That's crazy thinking that it was like 21 years ago. Like, that's just bizarre in itself. But yeah, I will recommend this. 5 out of 5 Kit Kats. Definitely give it a try. If you read it as when you were younger and you really, really want to reread it again, I implore you to do it, because I mean, I'm getting all the nostalgic feels whilst reading it. If you're feeling in a reading slump and you did used to read this as well, give it a go. Or if you didn't read it, give it a go. It's one of those series that will help you get out of a slump, because it is, you know, it's cheesy, it's mediator, it's paranormal, but with a kick-ass character and kick-ass cast of characters. I recommend it, I love it, so I hope you guys do if you do pick it up. So that is the end of my December as well as January wrap up. I never got around to doing a December wrap up, but I just thought I'd pump them in together just because unfortunately I'm 2 months late for December, but you know, let's put them all together. So those are the books I read during the past couple of months. It feels like actually quite a lot when I put them together as well, which makes me feel a bit better, because I didn't do very well in December. Like, I just read a couple of graphic novels and like I didn't read much, you know. So yeah, plonking it with other books definitely makes it seem a lot better. So yeah, I'm really happy with the reading that I did do though, and yeah, I got some reading done, that's all that matters. So if you have read any of these books that I've mentioned in today's video, let me know down below in the comments, because I'm really intrigued if anybody like has read anything that I've read. And also let me know how you guys did in the month of January. Have you done a wrap up video? Or if you want to wrap up your books in the comments, then just link the video or put your comments down below, because I love chatting with you guys. I love the comments, I love having a conversation with you guys in the comments. All my social media links you'll find in the description box below. Twitter, Instagram, Goodreads, got my wish list if you'd like to see what books I don't have, believe it or not. And also I've got my personal blog, my gaming channel, just so many books are there. If you're new to my channel, if you'd like to see more of my videos, I post my weekly vlogs every Tuesday, and at the moment I'm still uploading videos from last year, because last year, what on earth was last year? I'm just so behind. So once that's all like uploaded properly, which might take me to the end of the year, I will start sorting out a schedule of like videos to put up and everything. So that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day wherever you are. Keep smiling, keep reading, be happy, and most importantly, please stay safe, and I will see all of you wonderful awesome people in my next video. Bye.